This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
First plane hit the other tower right after I came in. It left a fiery gaping hole where officers had been. We stood and watched in horror as we saw the first ones fall. Then someone yelled, "Get out, get out, they're trying to kill us all." I grabbed the pictures from my desk and joined the flight for life. With every step I called the name of my children and my wife. And then we heard them coming up from several floors below. A crowd of firefighters with their heavy gear in tow. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. And when we met them on the stairs, they said we were too slow. Get out, they yelled at us, the whole thing's gonna go. They didn't have to tell us twice, we'd seen the world on fire. We kept on running down the stairs while they kept climbing higher. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Thank God we made it to the street. We ran through ash and smoke. I could not see which way to run. I thought that I would choke. A fireman grabbed me by the arm and pointed me uptown. Then Christ, I heard him whisper as the tower came crashing down. So now I go to funerals for men I never knew. The pipers play Amazing Grace as the coffins come in view. They must have seen it coming as they turned to face the fire. They sent us down to safety and they kept on climbing higher. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
I'm going to take a moment of silence. Tom Braxton, for your words, your grace, your music, for the remembrance of such a tragic time in the life of every United States citizen. Remembrance, it's a funny word. Today, it's 9/9. It's a magical number, 9/9/2024. If you're into numerology, that's an 8. Let's start by this date. I didn't do 9/11 because it's not, I'm going to save it for my brothers who are my sisters who are going to be on. But I did look this one up. And if you're into numbers, this is so beautiful because it gives you a refreshing. I'm going to just hold up my phone so I can read it clearly. So when you put in the numbers 9/9/2024, it all comes up to be a magical 8. We are in the year of 8. So it's like triple 8s right now, right? So that just means that when you add up 9/9/2024, you get an 8. The year in itself, 2024, is an 8. The day of which it's an 8, right? Got high 8s going on today. When you stick it in the little computer and this beautiful, what does the numbers mean? Numbers mean so much. And our brain and our memory have these magical attunements to be able to come up with digits. It's kind of like binary in the computer, our neurons of our memory in our brain. So today, those numbers into angelic voices and angelic terms means an 8. The number 8 is highly a fortunate number. The angels bring you the sign to reassure you that abundance on all levels is your birthright. Allow the angels to connect with you in an infinite flow of abundance and prosperity from the angelical vault of heaven. Today's magical power word is miracle. Your angel number contains also the number 99 because it's 9/9, right? September the 9th. Your prayers for miracle, miraculous outcome have been heard. Your strong faith and spiritual beliefs are the seeds that will see the miracle appear from out of nowhere. Hold tight and trust in God's powerful will to be done. It also contains the number 24. Assistance from people in high places is coming your way. This could be from your guardian angels or the earth angel. This loving assistance will bring healing on some level and leave you feeling joyful and uplifted. Angel number also contains the number 20. Angels have been a steady influence around you recently. As a result, you are about to feel a renewed sense of purpose in your life. The angels will be encouraging you to take action on a project that sparks your attention, or maybe to work for a cause that you feel passionate about. By devoting your energy to the project or cause, you will be rewarded with great inner peace. Your number also contains the number 92. The angels would like to remove any obstacles that make you feel trapped in situations or relationships. Fear is the biggest controlling factor that keeps you stuck in unpleasant situations. Hand over all your fears and trust that the angels will see you safe and sound and place you in a liberating new territories. You can choose to fly freely with the help of all the angels and God at your feet. I wake up every morning and I figure out what today is. Today, when I wanted to do remembrance, because obviously we're at 9/11, and if you are part anywhere that you were born on or after, you will have that stuck in your memory. What is memory? There's the other thing. What is our memory? What is remembrance to memory? So when we think about our physical memory, it is a reactive of a specific group of these beautiful neurons that form from persistent changes and the strength of connections between neurons. That's the physical science of it, right? Right. So why do we remember and why do we forget? Because the brain embraces similarities across events, and rather than trying to hold on to each, it simulates these events or these patterns that we get into. It simulates them. And once they get simulated, then we become a target of then how do we want to proceed? How is it that we want to go forward, right? Do we want to go forward in anger, resentment, sadness, happy, angelic, laughing? How do we want that memory? There is not a happy, love, positive memory you as a human, physical human, will not embrace, because it releases endorphins to raise our vibration to be at peace, right? For our bad memories, or what we call bad memories, I don't like to call things bad. We all have trauma. We all have patterns in life that we go through, right? Whether it be as a whole or individual, we go through these. They are traumatic and they are emotional. And we go through these because inside, somewhere in our cellular data from our soul, we either have to learn this lesson or we have to heal the memories that happened in this lifetime without the trauma, hence PTSD. I have a friend. Actually, I have a couple. I actually had a friend who had a baby. Now, wait till you hear this. Was born on 9/11, weighing 9 pounds, 11 ounces, at 9/11 in the morning. 9/11. Remembrance? How will they ever forget? I have another friend who was born on 9/11. Now she's a bit older, right? So when I say, what are we doing to celebrate? Her husband always sarcastically comes around and says, that is the most satanic day, but he goes on. And I said, now twist that. Twist it. Flip it. If we continue to remember a negative and we don't heal it, then we stay stuck in that energy, right? When we heal it and we understand it, not only have we learned life lessons and took our part, you have to remember, and I know that's going to really cause a little commotion when I say we have to take our part in 9/11. Of course we do. All of our foregoing presidents who put a wedge, right, or disrupt the flow, that was a choice. It was our part, right? One of my proverbial phrases I love to use on anything that happened in the past, and I use it a lot with PTSD people. I go, did it kill you? You're here talking about it. You're here talking about it. I'm very big-minded, willed. I have a tendency to run over people and run over things. That was me. I told you. I had to heal that, right? I had to find the source of whatever life lessons comes my way. I had to find the source of these things, because having a memory is a beautiful, beautiful experience to help others. If you've climbed out of that rabbit hole of whatever remembrance that shook your bones, give yourself a pat in the back, because now you can help others free them, not numb them with some type of addiction, but free them. That's what it's about. It's about honoring. It's about loving yourself enough to say, Father, forgive me and my part. Father, forgive them in their part. And when that happens, we're just at the mercy of God, right? Grant me that forgiveness, right? Because we asked, Father, please forgive me. Father, please forgive them. Yeah. And then we wait for our granting. But we have to heal our physical selves and our physical minds. So when we say that, I took some notes, because I'm not a brain scientist, right? But what I do is I search, and maybe you guys can figure this one. So I have schooling and training in metaphysical consciousness, theologies, how our mind power centers work, our physical mind power centers, and our metaphysical chakras, how our neurons work of our brain being ill. This is some of my education that I have. And when I start to read some of these things, and it asks us, why do we remember and we forget? Oxford says, the brain embraces the similarities across events rather than trying to hold on to each individualized event. That can lead a lot into memory frustration, because it can't make it prone to some types of memory distortions or false memories where we think something happened but was slightly different. Why do you think that when somebody remembers things, it isn't 100% accurate? And they'll say, well, I missed that. Nope, because it wasn't part of their learning. So when I have an event that happens between myself and somebody else, I have to look at that and say to myself, okay, I'm not angry with the situation, but they are. No matter how many times I ask about balance, we need to balance, but I'm still not angry. Has one person healed and the other one? Maybe. Or that event that I was asked to pay a catalyst for before we even got here on earth, I played out my part in due diligence. And if it makes them angry, they always say, if somebody's words or actions make you angry, that is where you need to have a remembrance of why. It's on you, not on them, because you've accepted their words. Why is it that you need to accept people's words, especially if it's derogatory or in a submissive type of thing? Think about that, because when we come back, I'm going to give you some different things about memory that might be able to help or be an awareness of our memory and of our remembrance. Today is going to be music instead of commercials today, because music heals the soul, not only by its words, by the tone and the frequency that it is being played. This week, we'll need a lot of healing, because people are still not healed from 9/11. And having a remembrance is a reminder to heal, a reminder that you've lived through it, a reminder that, yes, some has crossed because of it, but we're all here and we're all good. So I'm going to go and we're going to do Mitch Rossell, and we're going to do A Soldier's Memoir, so that you can understand the after effects now. You heard from Tom Braxton in his words. Now it's time to hear from the soldiers who such a tragedy was retaliated for our freedom, to say we are not going to be pushed, and our Templars were sent. And now we have Mitch Rossell, a soldier's memoir of man's conscious remembrance of how we fought back for our rights, for our soul. Yes, I can understand, do unto others as others do unto you. I can understand it's not tit for tat just because, once somebody did something and you do it, two wrongs don't make a right. I understand on both sides of this equation how difficult wartime is, how difficult something that has taken our valor and our freedom away from us. That balance, I can only tell you, being a veteran myself, you are not allowed. We are allowed to have our free will. We are. Our free will is governed by Father, Mother, God here. So when we remember things, we can't hold anger and guilt. We can't. We have to hold a positive outlook, because if not, we just read it, our memories are going to change the scenario. You have to tell the truth of the scenario. And they say the truth sets you free. The truth not only will set you free, it breaks through the ego and the judgment that wants to come in, and it wants to protect our soul. So we're going to go and we're going to do Mitch Rossell, A Soldier's Memoir. I'm MJ. You're listening to The World of Conscious Positivity right here on the beautiful mbrradio.us. You can follow us anywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Twitter. There's X, there's Rumble. There's a whole bunch of us. But stay tuned. Let's go to Mitch, and we'll be right back, and we'll discuss different levels.
Been home about 6 months now, and I still have my doubts. Well, I'm not sure how I got here or how I'm gonna get out. Well, my mama says I look the same as I did before I left, but if she could see inside of me, it would scare her to death. I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, God, and weighed a ton. And I see death in every single thought. Well, they taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it off. Last Saturday they honored us in a small parade downtown, and when they shot off those fireworks, I nearly hit the ground. And while they smiled and cheered for us, all I could do was stare, 'cause part of me is here at home, but part of me's back there. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, God, and weighed a ton. And I see death in every single thought. They taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it off. Yeah, there's no end in sight. 'Cause even though I'm home now, fighting for my life. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, counting weight a ton. And I see death in every single thought. Well, they taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it off. Well, the devil's won some battles, and he may win some more, but don't he know the American soldier will always win the war?
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey, we're back. That's one of my all-time favorites, Mitch Rossell. Everybody who knows me knows that. The Soldier's Memoir. It's true. Even as God's Templars or archangels, you put that uniform on. You can come in many forms of life. But sometimes the triggers, the memory, the remembrance, put you right then and there. Some people say that's PTSD of the soldiers, right? So, and people, I want to talk about, because PTSD is really all about remembrance. It really is all about the memory. And for veterans and first responders, PTSD is real. If you don't know what PTSD means, it's post-traumatic stress disorder. And it can cause memory problems in a lot of people. It's in a number of ways as well. You know, one of them is called memory of trauma. And people with PTSD may have vivid flashbacks of traumatic events or have a difficulty recalling that memory. And that's what you have, the memory of trauma, because it's too painful to remember. So we tuck it away into the unconscious until that trigger. We have something called a general memory of PTSD. It's people who have that, they experienced an increase of forgetfulness. There, what was that? Right? They have that forgetfulness, that decreased working memory where the neurons do not connect, and they're not connecting because our ego, believe it or not, and our super ego and our id are blocking it. And it is there as a mechanism of protection. Again, if we drop that curtain and we heal it and honor it and understand that we are alive, it didn't kill us. We are here today. Yes, that's very unfortunate, but that is in the past. It's already in the past. And now we got to find a way to balance it. Whatever is the mechanisms that we had in that general memory that we collected from our birth, of our ancestries, of our conditioned belief patterns. You first responders, or anybody who has a PTSD trauma, you signed up for this before you got here. I know it's hard to hear, and I know that that's tough, but it's the truth. You were born in that predicament to be a voice of an awareness. You were born with it to say, and here I am. And now you have to have the strength to drop that ego and just drop the suppressions. There I am. We're going to get this fixed. And then we have an everyday memory, right? Our everyday memory with people who have PTSD have trouble remembering aspects of an everyday life. Did you know that? They might forget to brush their teeth. That's how simple it is. Those people who surrender to have this traumatic life, simple things in life. They do events segmentation. They have difficulty segmenting like ongoing activities into discrete units, for which they affect their perception and memory of that activity. So they might just all of a sudden be in it, and then they're backing. They got to step back. They cannot continue. Some theories suggest that memory abnormalities are central to our development and our persistence of that PTSD. These are rough symptoms for those. I implore you, if these main four are happening with you, go find a counselor. And please try to find not just a physical counselor, try to find one that does the metaphysical as well. You'd be surprised. I know people think it's hogwash, but it really isn't. The difference that you feel when you get somebody who can do the metaphysical and physical, it's the aha moment of the soul. It's the aha moment of the brain of consciousness that creates that foundation, right? So when this happens, we also have what they call the hippocampus, right? The hippocampus is just part of our brain. It's up in here somewhere, that's responsible for the memory and our emotions. And it may appear smaller with those people who have PTSD. Our hippocampus becomes very small to protect us, right? That's how the physical mind is built. Let's protect it. And this is part of the ego, superego, id. And let's just shrink it all down so that we are all unifiable. And the other one is the amygdala, or the prefrontal cortex, which is normally our prefrontal cortex, our frontal lobes are straight here. And people talk about, they don't have a memory of their childhood and their prefrontal cortex. Was the childhood something that was an inner child trauma? Did the child blank out the abusive parent or an abusive bully or an abusive teacher? This is where that comes into an effect, and just everyday life with children and how we grow up. If children don't talk about it, how many, here we are, Generation X, children were to be seen, not heard. And that's even was the baby boomers. You're to be seen and not heard. Even if, so the way it is today is you see something, you say something. If you see it, you say it. But if you saw it in the 50s or the 40s or the 60s and 70s, even in the early 80s, you're a snitch, you shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. Survival of the fittest. There's that frontal lobe cortex, right? There it is. Because you're conditioned. Now we have to uncondition what they conditions, like brainwashing. Now we gotta pull that right back out. So the amygdala, or the prefrontal, is trauma that can cause like these changes in these areas of the brain, which then relate to the stress responsing of that memory, right? Because our anxiety kicks in, or our fear kicks in, right? Or that scaredness, that scared little child. I don't care how old you are as an adult, 40, 50, 60. If you didn't heal that trauma and you didn't say, it's okay, did I die? No, let it go. Let it go. The conditioned mechanism patterns of old belief systems and old conditioned patterns are holding you captive. Honor what happened. Relive it without the integrity of the neurons sublimating a difference to be in the safe zone. Because when we live in a safe zone, we turn our interpretation into something that's not quite accurate. And then what happens? It is a snowball. Yes, I understand it's painful. I do. I've been there. It is painful. And you're going to cry. There's going to be emotions, or the masculine tend not to have the cry mechanism because that's conditioned as well. Yeah, men don't cry. Get the hell out of here. God put tear ducts in your eyes. It is that emotion we call diamonds. Those diamonds that come out of those tear ducts means I don't have to live through this again. And if you're living through it again, then that means puts your free will in that predicament. And hopefully, if you do put yourself in that again, there's a different outcome because you've learned to balance. You've learned to have the remembrance and the memories to balance. 9/11 is hard. That's why this whole week I wanted to do Tony, that particularly. It's the awareness. It's like we have holidays in awareness, our bicentennial. You don't think that was tough on people? Sir Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death? Paying taxes? You didn't think that was rough back then? Think about all of our holidays that we have, federal holidays. It's an honoring of some traumatic event. Now, of course, in the physical, we probably in today's world can't even fathom what they went through. I love to watch movies. There's one out now. I haven't watched it, The Chosen, because I've done so many theologies and studies in the Bible. But there's a show called The Chosen. The horror, 2024 years ago, the horror, the brutality of just what they have as the dark ages, that gosh, we don't live in them. But your soul, if you lived in those as a reincarnate, your memory, your soul knows, which is why when you watch such movies or you watch such things, that memory will kick in. And it's going to be like, oh, I'm feeling this right here. Why am I feeling that right here? Maybe because your soul lived it and your soul's like, oh, how horrible, right? Because if you didn't feel a pain or you didn't feel a negative from anything, your emotion can't feel that. Your emotion can't. So you've had to live it, whether it's cellular data, right, of your soul coming through in the physical being, or it's a physical trauma that you've lived through in this lifetime. It's like someone breaking a bone. They're like, oh, I can't imagine. No, you're right. I've had 28 broken bones. That pain it's an electrical shock that goes straight up your body. You can't breathe for a second. It's like it takes your breath away. Did I live through it? Yep. Humpty Dumpty got put back together, baby. And I'm here to talk about it. It's the remembrance. So these are different, like I said, these are different ways that our remembrance. When you look at the most common trauma types associated with PTSD, now this is based, I want to read this. This is based off of a 2017 analysis of the prevalence of distribution of trauma exposed of 51,196 traumatic events by the World Health Organization. World Health surveying 31.4% unexpected death of a loved one, PTSD. That's a high number. 31.4. PTSD is caused, according to the WHO, right? 2017 was unexpected death of a loved one, getting that call out of nowhere. Witnessing or discovering death or serious injury, 23.7. Now we can understand that one, right? The witnessing, that's the soldiers, that's the first responders, right? That is a victim of a concert or something where the gunman just went nuts. The Boston bomber, the marathon. That is the PTSD. 23.7% people will have PTSD of that event. Mugging. People getting mugged comes in at 14.5%. Life-threatening automobile accidents. If you have ever been in any type of major accident, skiing, automobile, snowmobile, amusement park rides, anything that had you in a normal atmosphere of just living life and an unexpected. When I was 5 years old, I lived here in Pennsylvania in an old farmhouse with my parents. And every April, they had these big cast iron radiators that were by the boiler system, an old, the older systems. This is back in the 60s. And my mother would take them outside every April. She would have the guys come in, and she would pick these big cast iron things up, take them outside so that they could clean the boiler system so it didn't rust inside. And then, of course, she would drape her carpets and everything else. MJ, smarty pants, right? We're playing outside while all this was happening. And I thought for sure the best place to hide was looking like a rug over one of those. Here's how PTSD works. So my fat little body starts crawling up on this thing. Of course, they're taller than wider, so they're not sturdy, but who knows, that a 5-year-old, right? So I get up under, and I'm really sneaky about it so that the carpets lay on me because I had such the great hiding place. Centrifugal energy comes down, 400 pounds on a 5-year-old body, shatters the right side. I would wake up screaming in the middle of the night with that memory of pain until I finally could get my own help and my own self to say, stop it. You lived through it. Nothing happened. You got a few broken bones, but you're still walking. I understand it happened and it hurt. And I had to continuously tell myself in my 20s, it's okay. The more you tell yourself it's okay, it is okay. Truly, it is. Folks, I just realized I got to go on another break here. But I'm going to do Andrew Wiscombe. He is another artist of veteran music, and I would like to play him for you. I'm MJ. You're listening to the World of Conscious Positivity on the beautiful MBR Radio, .us. So give us 4 minutes, and we'll be right back with you.
Hey, my name's Andrew Wiscombe, and this is my submission for the Gems in the Rough 2021 contest. Came home soiled from a dirty war. Thought I knew just what I fought it for. Big brass bands and apple pie, all the reasons seem so cut and dry. Overseas, a million miles away, through a million dusty, hard-fought days. Bombed out towns and smoky skies, unshed tears have got me wondering why. They say the eyes are windows to the soul. Please don't look too closely, well, there's nothing left to show. I hang around where I once played, trying to fake it through the day. Never really worked out anyway. 'Cause it takes a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. Oh, it takes a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. And I've tried every job in this whole town. My aching mind refused to settle down. Uncle Sam taught lethal skills. Odds and ends now help to pay the bills. Left home feeling more than 10 feet tall. Quite a long, hard way for one to fall. Friday took a hand grenade, spangled banner doled into a grave. They say this place I live is called the home, but it feels more like a prison feels so numb, it feels so cold. They tell me I'm a special one to serve my country with a gun. So why do I still feel the need to run? No, I ain't a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. No, I ain't a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. They say that God forgives the man who tries, but they've never been to Baghdad, never heard those mothers' cries. And when I lay me down to sleep, will he take my soul to keep, or will he cast me out into the deep? 'Cause he ain't a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. No, he ain't a fool to fall for roses made with white mache.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Wow, that was beautiful by Andrew. Many blessings. When you feel those songs, even in our memory, there you go. So when you listen to the words of music, it is the most healing that it could be. Remember, if you have PTSD, you need to speak, you need to talk about it, and you need to be in somebody who can help you so that when the trauma opens, they can talk you back into a calming. But the more that you talk about and the more that you open it up, without judgment, without ego, without fear, you become healed. Music for these men who were the soldiers, right? Like Mitch, or who had to go through these trauma and they wrote about these traumas. They're healing themselves. Why? Because those words are constantly opening up that memory, that remembrance, and they're healing with those words. So if you don't want to talk, sing it. I always tell people I love to sing. I can't sing, but I love to sing. Why? Because it's a vibration. The vibration alone heals the chakras, and those endorphins heals everything within that we need. Remember that. We were talking about when I was a little girl. I told you I was in my 20s. I had to, and I would wake up in cold sweats, screaming, get it off of me. That big radiator. Broke a lot of my bones. I learned I was never gonna crawl. I learned quick, right? Survival of the fittest as a kid, right? 5 years old. You're not gonna crawl on that again, right? Or you're not gonna climb too high in a dead tree branch. The branch is gonna break. I was really, I don't know. My parents probably had PTSD with all my traumas because I told you 28 broken bones. It was to a point in my little town here that a minute I broke something, I was in the emergency room. The emergency room called my mother. She goes, "Is it Mary Jo again?" I was like, yeah, that's not fair. I have other brothers and sisters. It just seemed that I was always broken and beautiful. I don't know. But I want to give you some statistics since this is a military channel. My brothers and sisters and Templars of Arms, I truly want to help. PTSD, the median age of onset is 23 years old. Think about the age you go in the military and the age you get out. 18, 19, 20, 21. Right? 4 years. The majority of military people go 4 years, right? Then 23, that median age, this trauma. Makes sense to me. Adult women account for 66.4% of the overall PTSD population in the United States. I'm going to read that again. Adult women account for 66.4% of the overall PTSD population in the United States. It says based on U.S. PTSD prevalence estimates from a secondary analysis of the 2012-2013 National Epidemiological Survey of Alcohol and Related Conditions assessing PTSD in veterans and in civilians, and in 2008 population estimated of the Census Bureau, 66.4. Goes on to give you numbers, just to give you an idea. I can't even imagine today after the traumas. This was just after 9/11, because this week is about 9/11. So I'm trying to get that data so you can all understand. Women hold a lot of pain and a lot of strength. Obviously, we deliver babies with or without drugs, right? If you had a kidney stone, multiply that by 10. But the oxytocin level in giving a child and giving birth to a child of that pain removes the memory of the pain because of the love, endorphin, oxytocin. It doesn't happen with kidney stones, and it doesn't happen in war when shrapnel are hitting you or a bomb's blowing you up. That endorphin's not there. So it makes that PTSD. It makes that suffrage even more. I'm on both sides, men and women. I balance everything. So I understand women are majorly affected, and I get that, but it's a different pain, right? The DOD, 2,607,131 men and 7,558,833 female were estimated with PTSD as a U.S. civilian population, and 1.368925 men in the military. And as far as women in the military, 293,000. Look at how that dropped from the civilian to the military with PTSD. The men tumbled it. PTSD can affect all ethnic groups, with prevalence ranging in the highest of blacks at an 8.7% in blacks, a 7.4% and 7% of whites and Hispanics, respectively, and 4% of the Asian. This is all based on 34,653 adult responders, first responders. Overall, 80%, the majority of patients with PTSD are the civilian population rather than military population. This is wow to me. U.S. PTSD prevalence estimates from a secondary analysis after 9/11 of 2012 and 2013 National Epidemiological Society for Alcohol-Related Conditions, PTSD in veterans and civilians. NRDOD, it is 2.6 million men, 7.5 female adults were estimated to have PTSD in the U.S. civilian population, 1.3 in men, and only 293 in women of the U.S. military population. That's over 80%. PTSD patients may experience a wide range of impact. If a patient may struggle with multiple, think about everybody who has PTSD right now. Most of them, according to this, on all aspects, have marital discrepancies, parental discrepancies, occupational discrepancies, social activity discrepancies, and ongoing struggles and disruptive symptoms of physical caused by PTSD to be a factor. It infects your life. We need these remembrances. We need these memories, but we need them out. We need to be able to speak about them, and we need to honor them. We are here to help, not to create another down one. Yes, going through it is going to be a struggle. It's going to be hard. And we ask, Father, Mother, God, please, right? Let me heal this. ETFT tapping. I understand that I have PTSD, but my body can heal itself. I understand that my body has PTSD, but my body can heal. And you go down, you get the EFT pattern out, go all the way down to those meridians, right? And then your bottom of your ribs to your hands. You need that EFT tapping. It's a reminder. The more that you condition the brain to think the way you want it is the better outcome that you have, right? Flip for a conscious positive. And the way we think, the way we word, and our tones. Words and tones are triggers to those around us who have suffered trauma, such as 9/11. 9/11 in itself was such a tragedy. It's like Pearl Harbor. It's like 1776, the Revolutionary War. Our civil wars, our traumas on our own soils create us with a loving aspect of knowing somebody who is a friend of a friend or a family member who went through that. We know it. We know it. We just don't practice it because it's too difficult. It's too hard. It's too emotional. Who wants to be in that? Because when you heal it, then the only thing left in our remembrance is happiness, is funniness, is loving. But when we still have factors that we haven't healed, it causes us to have a physical breakdown of our bodies and our mind. Right? Memory loss? Nope. I had to do it. There's things to help you. One of the best is lying. I implore anybody who has PTSD, find Lion's Mane, eat it, drink it. I don't care how, what form. Lion's Mane will help the cognitive frontal lobe, this pattern, right? This frontal cortex with it, because it puts the neurons back in place to remember your truths and remember the part or unpart that you witnessed or played. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. I want to leave today early, the last 3 minutes, because I really want to play the last song for you guys to see the words come up. It's by Logan Roth, and it was called Once Was. It's about memory. It's about remembering of who you were, where you can become, and who you are now. And the words are beautiful. If you don't want to listen, read the words. Read them. They're right. Now that my Wi-Fi is telling me enough, MJ. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to go. I love you all. Reach out if you need help. Right there on the bottom. The World of Conscious Positive Thinking at mbr.us. I'm here for you, especially this week. I know it's really traumatizing for some of us who haven't healed. My heart goes out to you. May the angels carry you with peace, love, grace, joy, happiness, and abundance of what it is that you desire most. I'm leaving you today. I'll be back next week, and we're going to go to Logan, and I hope you enjoy his words.
Consequence, so wonderful to see you again. You've not shown your face around here since the last time I was in too deep. Now I've been struggling to sleep, and I have to blame that on what I have created. Always with women or drink, some repetition of things, and that's a tired old cliche, but that does not mean that it ain't the truth. 'Cause I've been absent from you, and I've never felt less careful. need my father, my mother, even my brother to say, you gotta get your act together, do not rewrite the days. You can still be productive, you know, without all the hate. Just need to remember who you once were. And I once was quick on the draw, and I once did admit all my flaws. I once was an honest man, and I held your hand when you had to bed. And I once was fresh like the sand. My head moved steady, honey, so did my hands. I once was blessed and true till the day that I lost you. Goodbye meaning, I've been searching too hard to find you now, like some bone in the yard. And I'll keep digging, but only when I have the time, 'cause this world's been moving quickly, too much rhythm and rhyme. And sometimes you just gotta do what makes you feel good. And remember all those nights that you still understood how to be free, how to answer to no one, how to trust like a lover, how to lie like a son. You say this world has got you down, well honey, welcome to the club. I can hardly save enough money to go and see those I love, and we've all but found it, but we're still out of touch. I know we've lost hope of good baby, but I hope not too much, 'cause we once were thicker than thieves, and we once were so much easier to please. And we once were alive on the tracks when the wheels came down, you know, I had your back. And we once were younger than now, and we once were all still just plotting it out. We once ran circles round squares just for fun. We were louder then before we gave up. My voice was something other than that. I once was walking the line, settling down, loving and trying. And I once was bringing it out, and I held on tight. You were around. And I once was back home in blue, kissed my shadow and I came through. And I once was letting it loose, and I thought of you, and I thought of truth. I once was less scared of time, and I had yours, and you had mine.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for coming by. That is the end of my show. I hope you enjoyed that last and read those words. Again, I'm MJ, and thank you to Joel, Terry, and Grizz, and all those behind the scenes that makes MBR what it is. And for all those soldiers and all those first responders and people who perished, it is a beautiful remembrance, and I thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for standing with pride and dignity and giving the voice to America. You are our fighters. You are our strugglers. You're survivors. And aim high. There's that Air Force girl in me. Aim high. See you next week, Monday, folks, at 10 a.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.